Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of Happy Hour Podcast. I'm Mike.
I'm Tabby.
This week, we're joined by a very good buddy of ours, King James's father, Matty Ice. How you doing, Matt?
I'm going to be perfectly transparent with your listener base. I am exhausted, but a promise is a promise, and I am here for the two of you this week to talk about fun stuff.
We're talking about Clue.
Well, first off, I want to say, aw, thank you, and we love you for coming on the show, even though you're exhausted. And I'm super fucking excited to talk about Clue because I've watched it twice already this week.
How many times have you seen Clue?
Probably a lot. I've
Over
lost
10.
count.
Over 10.
Oh, well over 10. Well over 10.
Matt, what about you?
I don't know. It hasn't quite been that much, but I've definitely seen it enough to be able to talk about it. It's a movie that definitely falls in cult classic for me, not necessarily got into it at the time. I mean, it came out in 1985, so I was 2.
I was fresh. I was born.
Yeah. So it, obviously, probably not the movie that my parents were going to take me to the movie theater to see. But afterward, definitely when I became more of a movie person, and it's probably, I would say it was probably actually in college when I had a lot more time to do shit like watch movies and sit down and, do stuff like that. And I probably discovered it somewhere on like a movie channel and was like, oh shit, this is definitely for me. 80s, cheesy acting, nostalgia, kind of all fits in that model that I'm definitely into.
And Christopher Lloyd.
Yes.
It has Christopher Lloyd.
I'll be honest, as a Back to the Future guy, that should probably pull me in a little bit more, but the Tim Curry part is what got me more often than anything else. Yes, I love a good thespian.
Yeah, it's my favorite Tim Curry movie next to Home Alone 2.
It's my number one Tim Curry movie.
Tim Curry?
Tim Curry. I don't know where that Kentucky accent came from right there. Right there. Yes, was.
Were you thinking of Jim Carrey?
No, I meant to say it was like a halfway burp kind of like coming out, and it was like Curry.
Well, we talked about Jim Curry already, too. Now we're talking about Tim Curry. And Madeleine Albright.
Madeleine Albright.
Tim Curry's probably more known for, I mean, if you went into a hierarchy of things that he's known for, I always see Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I've never seen.
You're not missing anything.
I didn't think so. Also, Home Alone and the It miniseries that was on TV in 1990, I believe. Because when the new series came out, or the new movies came out, I know a lot of people were very anti it because it wasn't the other imagination of it. And the whole point is you can have more than one imagination of something, and they can both coexist in an ecosystem. It's okay to actually like one or the other or both.
Yeah,
they're different.
The original It, the way that they did it with the TV miniseries, of course, they like broke down the books into like little bits and pieces.
Barely.
This one with the new It, the re-imaged It, they literally just took the book and split it in half and did half of each like of the book. But no, this is probably my favorite Tim Curry movie of all time. Not only that, but it has Madeline Kahn, who is one of my favorite actresses.
She's the original Megan Mullany.
You said that the other day, and I loved it. I mean, I love Madeline Kahn, not Madeleine Albright.
Ha ha.
Ha ha. Because, I mean, she was introduced to me when I was a kid with Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, all of those Mel Brooks movies. So she was always the slapstick, like the female who's like prissy and proper and but hilarious and makes it funny. Taffeta, darling. Taffeta. It wrinkles when you touch it.
Also in History of the World Part 1, there was no Part 2. Always one of my favorite facts. And also she was in a movie called Slapstick of Another Kind. So just about as on the nose as you could possibly get for that. But I think what if I'm going to say what makes this movie work for me, I think it was the fact that they really leaned into the sort of old-timey whodunit sort of, I mean, but even back in the old times of radio when they used to do those historical readings of, there's a detective there and they're trying to figure out who did it. There's 12 people in the same house type of thing. And then obviously the game comes out, they make the movie, so it all kind of flows into each other. But it definitely harkens back to an older time in content creation. And if you think about what today is, where you and I are all sitting here in our respective homes doing this, but back in the day, they had to do it in a studio, they had to have a script, and everybody had to be there. And I kind of liked how they leaned into the cheesiness of it. Because if you really go back and listen to those old, detective things, they're really, really cheesy. It's like It's like dinner theater, which is the point, right? It's supposed to be cheesy. And I think that when this movie came out, even in the 80s, somehow it didn't capture people in that moment. But it's one of those that kind of a slow build. It's like any album that you listen to, you're not into it wholeheartedly right away. You get listening to it more and more. Then all of a sudden you're playing it on repeat for 7, 8, 9 months or whatever. And I think that's where this movie comes in. And the fact about it that I really like is that they tried to get cute and make 3 different theatrical endings, and it just pissed off the audience completely.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the things I read about the other day was when this movie came out, there was each theater got the copy they got of the film.
Different theaters got the different endings.
A different ending, so not everybody got to see the same ending. So, when they would go to the theater and see it and try to talk about it with their friends, they were like, well, I don't remember that.
That's not the ending.
That's stupid. No, that's not who killed who. That's not who the killer was.
Since we're talking about endings, the very last ending was my favorite ending.
I liked so when he drugged Madeline Kahn halfway up the stairs and just let her go. When Tim Curry he's like dragging her he grabs the back of her dress and drags her halfway up the stairs and just drops her and she falls.
So that reminds me, and like I told you the other day, I took Tim Curry's performance in Clue and I put it at the Haunt when I worked at the Haunt.
Yeah.
One of my last years at the Haunt, everybody was like, oh, I've never seen how each character works. I'm like, well, you're in luck. Let's go. So I played like 50 different characters in a matter of like 10 minutes. So I would run from scene to scene.
Tim Curry build up to who the killer was.
I did the build up to the very end. And that's what makes that ending so exciting is he's like, he ran over here to the bathroom in the lavatory. And then it was over here. And then he went to the kitchen. And then that was so fun. And the way that they were piecing it together and the chemistry between all of the actors,
I think it was
brilliant.
It was very well cast. I think it was very well cast. Matt, what about you? Do you have a favorite moment from the film that really stands out to you?
Too many. So, I mean, literally all of the moments are part of I really don't have a favorite moment. Well, I might have a favorite moment. It was when they say that the brandy has been poisoned.
Yeah.
And he
James has entered the building.
Hi, buddy.
Hi, James.
Hi, Sugar Bear.
Can you say hi?
Hi, James. Hi, bud.
It's Aunt Tabby.
Can you say hi?
Hi, handsome.
Oh, I love
You're
this
so
Mario
handsome.
hat.
Say goodnight to Daddy. Is that what you're going to say? Yeah. Can you tell them good night?
Good night.
Good night, handsome prince.
Good night, sweet boy.
You sleep good, okay?
Okay.
All right. Hey, give me big hugs and kisses, okay?
I am not editing that out at all. Ladies and gentlemen, listening to this, we just had a very special guest, the young James.
His Majesty.
His
adorable cuteness. Oh
his-
my gosh, my heart.
Your Grace.
I would die for that beautiful boy.
100%.
And those of you listening, Matt sends me videos and pictures. And when he sends me videos of James, he goes, hi, and Tabby.
He only sent me one, and then he told me, here is a video of James, just so you'll shut up and leave me alone about it.
Well, I'm Aunt Tabby.
I love that boy.
Oh, he's such a dull face.
He
I'm
is
sorry.
precious.
I'm back. I heard
You're
him.
No, it's good.
I heard him coming up the stairs. I had
It's
to.
Never.
okay.
I'm not
Had to stop.
editing a single bit of that out.
I heard him coming up the stairs and the whispering. That's why I like tipped my ear cap
you're
out.
good.
And then I was like, all right, because this is about his bedtime. Anyway, so where were we? You asked me about a favorite moment, I think.
Yes. Is there anything like any favorite thing that about Clue that really sticks out to you?
Again, I'm going to go back to how dated it is to the time because I love 80s movies in general. Most of them because they feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Comedies. I mean, I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. So obviously, once I got to movie viewing age, the 80s was where I trafficked, which is why films like Uncle Buck, The Great Outdoors, like those are some of my favorite movies. And then that's why I think probably like Home Alone fits in our wheelhouse because we were old enough to be about where Kevin was in his life and sort of, I guess, relate to what he's going through. And I think that's why I like it. And as I watch it now as an adult, going to be 40 in like 3 weeks, it has that same appeal, right? Like it has the same feel to it. And I think something that I've realized today is that as great as movie making and television making is, we're never going to be able to recapture that, right? We're not going to watch something in 20 years and I'll be like, hey, James, this was from the golden age of the 2020s. Like, we're not going to be able to discern it because there's nothing, and it just doesn't mean that it's bad, right? It just means that it's not the same as it was. Like, you can watch a 50s movie, 60s movie, 70s, 80s, even a 90s movie and say, oh, that was 90s filmmaking or that was 90s television. You can't really do that. Technology will be the thing that will date it. But cinematography, production, all that stuff, like this movie did not have a major production budget behind it. I mean, you could tell, right? Like the sets were not super fancy. It's not as if they shot it on state-of-the-art cameras back in the day. That's part of what the charm is. And you have people who have been in comedies, you have people who've been in serious stuff, and all together make this movie with like 20 different people in it that have to coexist in this weird way. I mean, I'd love to have been there while they filmed it because it's like, hey, we're going to film all these different endings and you have to sort of like pretend all these different things. Like there are moments when I'm like, man, this is really shitty acting, but it works for the movie. Like you can tell they're so over the top, but then I say, well, that's the point of it. That's why it exists. And I think it's funny, but Tabby, you talked about the different endings, right? And that's really more of like a today thing. It was very state of the art to have different endings because it tied to the game in which you could have, multiple permutations of or combinations of endings. And there's a Netflix series now. I don't know if you guys have heard this one where you can determine the order that you watch the series in.
Black Mirror?
No, it's I can't remember what it's called, but the viewer determine the order that you watch the episodes in, and it's different for everybody, right?
Kaleidoscope.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Basically,
they said to watch the white episode last, but outside of that, the order you can kind of choose.
But think about what that is pulling from. It's pulling from something like this, and I love movies that catch on that have a cult following, and I think this falls 100% in that category. There's two people. You either love this movie or you've never heard of it. That's basically what it comes down to.
That's legitimately the point. Like I've had a lot of people who have been like, "Oh, I've heard of it, but I've never seen it." Or those people who have heard of it, they're like, "Oh yeah, I've seen it and I like it. It's really good."
Well, I saw it for the first time last year.
Was it last year? I thought it was 2 years ago.
No, it was last year.
Oh, okay.
It was.
I was talking about it, and you were like, "I've never seen it."
It was one of the days back about this time last year when we were snowed in. That ice storm we had.
I was like, I have to introduce you to this movie.
Well, we were talking about the game, and you asked me, "Have you seen the movie?" I said, "No, not yet." And you're like, "Oh, put it on. It's on Amazon. Let's watch it." So yeah, and I was like, "All right, fine." So and at the end of it, I was like, "Fuck, this movie's amazing. I love it. It's hilarious."
I just like the campy cheesiness of it.
Well, it's got so many different aspects, styles of comedy, and they all blend together so well.
I didn't do it.
Yeah, Michael McKean. What was the line? Michael McKean. What was it?
Which one was it? What was the scene?
It was towards the end. They were outside, and Tim Curry smacked him. Oh, wait, Mrs. Peacock was a man, and then he smacked her in the face, and he just like you idiot. No, that's not what I'm saying.
But that's another thing that dates it, though, right? Some of the tropes that they used are definitely very stereotypical to back then, like how it's taboo that he's gay and he could
Right.
lose his job because he's gay. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh, that's definitely not today. Like that's definitely 40 years ago.
If you remember at the very end, his last line was, "I'm gonna go home and have sex with
No,
my
I'm gonna
wife."
go home and sleep with my
Or
wife.
sleep with
Yes.
my wife.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we were all like, "Whoa, hold on, plot twist at the very end? What the hell?"
Well, and
But,
I just
yeah.
watching it the other day or getting like through half of it, I thought about that. And also, you know, like, oh, we have an escort service. And then, of course, you have a
Mhm.
psychiatrist who sleeps with his patients and all that kind of stuff. And they're very stereotypical tropes that you would have seen back in the day. Like, of course, you know, those are like they're so cliched that was almost like it's almost too much. But for this movie, it's
Yeah.
not too much because that's the kind of thing that was written in movies back then. Like, if they tried to do this modern age today, what would they use as things to blackmail? You think about the things that are,
Right.
you know, here to blackmail now in the news. I mean, look at U.S. soccer, right? Where the parents of a player on U.S. soccer are blackmailing because of something that happened 30 years ago that nobody cares about, right? What would they use?
Exactly.
Right. I was gonna say too is you got to realize when they were first introduced, like Miss Peacock said, "I'm a wife of a senator or
Politician.
a politician,"
Yeah.
and then you had Miss White who was married to one of the richest men in America who was her fourth husband, and then you had Mr. Green who was part of the FBI or Secret Service, and then you had all these people who had different jobs, but then once you got into the aspect of the blackmail, you realized why they were being blackmailed.
And Colonel Mustard sold military and government intel
He sold parts,
or parts. Yeah. Military parts.
military plane and automobile parts
Mhm.
on the black market for money.
Aircraft,
Yeah.
Yeah, the black market was a big thing back then.
Oh, God, was it ever?
I guess technically it probably still is today. You just can go on the internet to find it.
Yeah.
eBay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The eBay is the black market now. That's the new black market.
eBay
Yeah.
Basically.
or Wish.
I mean, it is.
Or Wish.
Yeah.
No, Wish.com.
Yeah. Well, wish.com. That, yeah. Well,
I also love the Black Widow thing too, because it's
with Miss
taboo
White?
but it's taboo for a woman to have multiple wives, but like dudes can just be out here fucking whoever they want, and it's like macho.
Oh yeah.
Macho.
it's a shitty double standard.
Well, and the thing is like today it still exists, but I don't think
Yeah.
you'd see it in movies today. I don't think you'd see it in TV today. But for Mrs. White, that's like a taboo thing that she could be blackmailed for. Like, oh, you've been married how many times? And it's like, why does it matter?
Yeah.
Right. But it matters in the movie because of the way her husbands have
Of course.
passed. So
Yeah.
that was kind of the kicker. But she's like, "Oh, I'm on my fourth husband. Like it's nothing." They're like, "How did your last husband die?" He lost his head,
Right.
Which
or he
could-
disappeared.
Yeah, well, which losing his head could mean multiple things. He could have had his head chopped off, or he could have just gone insane. Either one.
Yes.
Yeah.
She could have driven him insane too.
I mean, so was anybody else bothered that Mr. Green, Scarlet, and Miss White
Mhm.
were not wearing the colors of their names? Like Mr. Green, it
Oh.
would have been. I really wish that he was wearing.
Neither was
green.
Professor Plum.
Mike,
Well,
this
he
isn't
had
the
his-
Power Rangers.
His vest. Well, I know, but still,
Was his
Miss
vest-
Scarlet? Miss Scarlet was in a green dress and not a red one.
Yeah, but she had red hair.
Barely.
She had red
She
hair.
did have red lipstick.
See? Well, all of the women had red nail polish too. I
Yeah,
noticed that.
But like Mrs. White was wearing Madeline Kahn, she was wearing a black dress and not a well, I don't know. It's just stupid.
They're just names, Mike.
I
but
know.
if you
You're
but if you want to really read into it, Mrs. Scarlet Letter, she
yeah.
owns a escort service, so put some pieces together, Mike. Don't be so
Yeah.
rudimentary, you motherfucking.
I mean, your name is Mr. Gray, and you don't wear gray all the time.
I've never seen
It's
you
a-
wear that color
It's
before.
Actually, my happy hour shirt is gray.
Well, you're not
Not for
wearing it
long.
tonight.
No,
Not for
Oh.
long.
Not for long. One of the moments that I went back and I watched, well, when I watched it again the other day, one of my favorite moments is when they said that the brandy was poisoned and Miss Peacock went absolutely insane and was screaming. She was like, ah, 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 and just screaming. And me and Gunnar both were laughing hysterically. And when Mr. Green sits her on the couch and then smacks her, and everybody's like, what did you do? He's like, I had to calm her down. They're like, well, if the brandy was poisoned, then we'll see if she's actually going to die. And like everybody surrounded her and just stared
staring
at her.
like watching her, like,
great.
ooh, I want to watch somebody
Yeah,
die
like-
today.
It might not take 10 seconds.
That was funny though.
I do like the way though, and I've wanted to write a script or a movie to where everybody is connected in some way, shape, or form, and they connected all of the characters.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that or not, but they connected them.
Do
Well,
tell.
Yeah.
So Miss White's husband cheated on her with Yvette. Yvette used to work for Miss Scarlet. Miss Scarlet, was it Professor Plum was one? No, it was Colonel Mustard. Which one was it? Was the Miss Scarlet's customer?
Plum.
Was it Plum?
No, mustard.
Mustard. Colonel
Yeah, it was
Mustard.
mustard.
Was Miss Scarlet's customer. I'm trying to remember who the other ones that were connected. Somehow they were all connected.
Maybe we'll just have to go back and watch it again.
I mean, I'm down for that too, and actually pay attention this time. But
Is this one of those movies where, like, if you were stranded on a deserted island and you could pick one movie, would that be at least one of you would?
yeah,
maybe
Lord of the
choose-
Rings is going to be my movie. The
If you could have
trilogy.
like 3, but that would be one of them.
well, yeah. I mean, if you consider all three the trilogy one movie.
Yes, I do.
Okay, there we
It
go.
comes in one box set.
There we go.
So that counts as
that count.
That still
That-
counts as
just
one.
I was just about to say it. And I think Mrs. White's husband worked with Miss Peacock's husband. And I know Miss Peacock's husband worked in
You're right, because that was mentioned.
the more I'm thinking about it, then Miss Peacock's husband works in DC, who Mr. Green works in DC for the government as well as Colonel Mustard.
And Plum, he worked for the United Nations. He
So
was a
somehow they're
psychiatrist.
all connected, except Mr. Body, but they're the ones blackmailing.
Mr. Body gave off the worst Robert De Niro impression I've ever seen.
I was going to say
I'm not
Joe
even
Pesci.
sure
my
what
God,
that
no,
was.
'cause you would
Mm,
have had to use the voice.
No, I was actually trying to figure that. There he is back there, right there. I was trying to figure out who he reminded me of. It's like if Alec Baldwin, back 90s Alec Baldwin, like back in the day, Alec Baldwin tried to be Robert De Niro. Like he kind of looked like that because his hair was slicked back, like Alec Baldwin, like Beetlejuice era type stuff here.
Yeah.
Like that's what he kind of reminded me
Pompadour.
of. Yeah.
I was
Cheesiest
getting
actor of the
a,
whole bit, by the way.
I was getting a bad impression of Robert De Niro in Goodfellas.
Mm.
That would technically be a good impression, though, because that's such a good role. How that's quite the role to try and mimic, basically.
He tried.
I mean,
tried.
he literally had like what 3 lines of that.
Yeah, it was really weird, and like the whole scene where he went to go break the glass, and then the dog came out there, and I'm like, well, yo, dog, if you got a pot that you can break the glass with, you can probably hit the dog too.
Right.
And he's like, oh no, can't do that. And I'm like, this is so weird. And then I think I also love too that the motorist, the guy who got stranded. First of all, if I ever stopped at somebody's house and like 9 people answered the phone, probably just go to the next house because I don't know why 9 people need to answer the phone. And then they're so skittish and they have to like do the football huddle before they come back and invite him back in.
Then you know something's up.
You meant answer the door, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. What did I say? What did I say?
Answer the phone.
Answer the
Whatever.
phone.
He does answer a phone later. He
No,
does use
literally,
phone.
no. Everybody answers the phone in this, though.
Yeah.
Anytime the phone rings, somebody answers it.
Yeah.
But I love that guy was the second in charge to Chief Brody in Jaws. Jeffrey Kramer.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
Yes. Mhm. And that was
That's
one of
another
because 10 years after that movie came out. So this is like he's probably at that point where this is probably the tail end of his career for getting actual roles in big movies. But I always like going and finding people that were in these things, like in other things that I've seen before, and it's been so long that you don't even realize when people are who they are. Like that happens to me a lot. Like my wife is not like that, where she's like, "Why does that person look familiar?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is the best one I ever had." We were watching some Netflix show, I think, and it was like one of those like Tom Clancy type shows, and some guy shows up and she's like, "Why does that guy look so familiar?" And I'm like, this is going to be the most ridiculous pull I've ever made, but that is the Iceland coach from the second Mighty Ducks movie. And she's like,
Nice.
"How the hell do you know that?" And I was like, "I just know it. I
It's
know
Mighty
that's who it
Ducks.
is." Yeah, well, yeah, it's the second one where they somehow win like a world championship despite having lost half of their team. I don't know how that works.
Yeah. Well, you know how Disney goes.
Everybody's
The
a
good
winner.
guy always wins in Disney.
Yeah, I guess that depends on your perception. Some people might think that the U.S. winning isn't the good guy winning. Maybe
That's true. Oh, miracle. Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway,
Can I?
sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, can I just say how calm everybody was after the first person died?
Were
Like
they?
everybody was like, "Oh, well,
Yeah.
there's just dead bodies
Well, if
everywhere."
you think about it, when they go into the study and the cop is laying over that desk dead, they're just like, "Oh, well, there's another one."
No,
And then they go out to the door, and then the singing telegram lady is laying dead on the front porch. Yeah.
am
Like,
the singing telegram.
she's dead too. Okay, well, fuck it, I guess. Whatever.
There is one of my favorite sitcoms of all time is Frasier, and there is an episode where they try to recreate one of those radio things. It's like in season 4 somewhere, and they try to do one of these things, and they have all these people doing these different parts, and it breaks down to all hell to the point where he has his brother playing like 7 parts, and he's like critiquing him, and so he ends up going rogue and shooting everybody, and they have like 9 minutes left, and they've got to fill out 9 minutes because they just went totally rogue, and the guy killed everybody using like a balloon, and then that was it. And they're like, "Well."
I never watched Frasier.
I did because it was late at night.
I
and
have
had nothing
seen
else.
every episode of Cheers, thanks COVID.
Yes. So I would say, and this is getting off topic, but not really actually, because it is related. Sitcoms in general, in my opinion, were better written back in the day. Obviously, if you go back in the annals of time, you're going to find 80s and 90s sitcoms that are shit or that very much are dated to that time period. But I've always said this, and you guys will probably agree, good writing is good writing. It stands the test of time. Why some of the comedies of our lifetime work, it's because they were written well. They're not situational to a time. They're not particular in terms of jokes, because like if I go back and watch American Pie, for instance, I was in high school when that came out. That still makes me laugh because I was in high school when it came out. But if I were like, does that movie hold up in terms of comedic value today? Maybe, but not really. Seinfeld's another one where half of the show could be handled by a cell phone now, but because I watched it back in the day, I have an appreciation for it, but it's good writing. Frasier was kind of like that. It still makes me laugh because it's not, again, situational to something that could be fixed with technology today or is a stereotype that they're laying into. It's just good, solid joke writing and comedic timing. And I think sometimes today it doesn't translate.
Yeah, I agree.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing though, is like today's age, you've got to go. Like it's got to get out. It's got to get out. Let's put something out there. Let's just not think about it or make it good. Let's just put it in people's faces.
And
It
if
needs
you
to be-
slam Seinfeld, I'm gonna thump you.
Fucking hate Seinfeld.
No, Mike, the thing about Seinfeld is that I kind of saw Seinfeld as a British comedy. Like some people get British comedy, some people don't get
love
British
British
comedy,
comedy.
right? Right. But there are people who are like, I don't get Monty Python. And it's kind of the way that it works. You either find it fucking hilarious or you're like, I don't get it, because they have a different sense of humor. Seinfeld was kind of that way. First of all, it was very much geared toward white people. So like white people find it funny because not sure how many non-white people there were in the show. And that's not a racial commentary. It's just, that's a fact, right? Like, and different cultures find different things funny, which is why when there's a show like a George Lopez show or something, some of the family things that they go into, I can't relate to because it's a cultural thing and not something that I went through.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But if you're somebody who can laugh at how mundane life can be, that's why the show worked for me. Because like, I would love to be George Costanza and try to like get my way out of everything and have none of it work and then just still keep going. Like I'm like, I appreciate just how dedicated you are to being a shithead.
Oh, George Costanza. What a
So
guy.
getting off of Seinfeld because I don't care. Watching the scene that's playing behind you right now is when the cook gets killed.
Oh yeah, for our listeners, Matt is actually playing the movie Clue in the background.
Mhm.
This
And
has
we're
been
just
a
at the part
new
now where
this has been a new thing for me. Whenever I record virtually with somebody else, I have something on in the background,
That's
and
awesome.
people seem to enjoy.
I'm enjoing very much.
We're watching Clue.
I have a face
the
for
cook-
radio, so I might as well have something on that people can enjoy.
That's too bad you didn't do that when we were doing our Stranger Things episode last summer.
I didn't quite have everything put together this way. This is a part of my lighting setup back here. It actually takes a little bit of the focus off of the background and kind of creates like a silhouette, so you can't see the empty Dunkin' Donuts bag back here, maybe some of the crayons. I mean, I need people to think that I know what I'm doing and have my shit together. So if I had the lights on, it would just be a madhouse in here.
Well, it's great. I love it. The cook is the one that also had the connection with Miss White as well.
From MASH.
Yeah, she was also from MASH.
Yes.
Love it.
We will be doing a MASH episode.
Fuck yeah, we better. It's my favorite
Oh.
TV show.
Still
But
holds up.
oh yeah,
100%.
totally to this day, absolutely 110%. But if you go back and watch Clue again, whenever someone dies, look at the group itself. Because when you get to the end of Clue, whenever they're like, oh, well, this person disappeared to go kill this person. Well, this person disappeared to go kill this person. They actually put it in the movie. So whenever he says, we walked to the kitchen to go look at the cook and the cook died, if you look in the foreground of the characters, the one character is missing who goes back to go kill was it Yvette?
Yes.
I think it's Yvette. I think.
When Yvette got hung, or not hung, but strangled with the noose.
I think so. I'm trying to remember who disappeared, or who did Miss Peacock kill?
That depends on which ending you watched.
Well, anyway, so if you go back and watch, you can see that person not in that group, as the whole group is there.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, somebody's been killed, except one person who's off trying to kill another person. Fucking
Also
love it.
Very sad when the French maid died. No, I'm going to put that out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thought
every
it was
man.
fantastic.
I just love how, oh man, this is so great. It's like if you tried to make a porno for Clue, that's what the French maid would be dressed as. And
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, it was a stereotype for sure.
I mean,
Love
I
it.
love the way that all the men were just like, oh, when they were drawing the matches to go off in different directions, all the guys were like, yeah, I'll take her. Yeah, let's go. And they all checked their matches against hers. And of course, it's Mr. Green. He's like, no,
Well,
no.
to
I'm
quote
good.
Jim Carrey, that's because she's got big jugs.
that is true. I saw a picture of her recently, and unfortunately, she does not
Aged.
look like that anymore. Not even aged. It's just she looked like she weighed like 400 pounds, and I was like, man, I have been through that in my life, and I hope that it's not mental health related or something, because it's a drastic difference, and it's been 40 years or whatever. But it's just I see that, and I always feel a
38.
tinge of pity. Hey, 38 is basically close to 40, Mike. Like
Mhm.
you if you are getting into that place where you're trying to convince yourself that you're not getting older, you're getting fucking older, Mike. Like just look in the mirror
I
and
will-
real
I'll,
I'm here to
Accept
tell
it.
you.
I'll be 38 in a month.
It doesn't matter. It's just a number. So
Mhm.
look in the mirror, say to yourself, I'm getting fucking old, and just move on with your life. Trust me, just move on with your life because young people today will never understand what we went through. You and I didn't even walk 6 miles uphill both ways in the snow to get to school like all the boomers out there.
Right.
Gunner's not going to understand what it was like to sit 2 inches away from a Nintendo with no saves. He's never going to understand that.
That's a sad reality for Gunner. I cherish that memory very
Oh,
much.
I cherish that too, but I just when you say like 38, like don't be doing that. Don't try to quantify. 38 years is basically 40 years. Just embrace it, man. 3 weeks for me. 3 weeks.
Oh,
And
dude,
I'm gonna be
I don't care. You know what? When I hit 40 in 2 years, I don't give a shit, man. I'm here for it. Let's ride it out.
feel like
Let's go.
I'm aging better now. I'm getting the Tom Brady treatment. I'm starting to look better as I get older,
That's what I said too myself.
which means I'm
Oof.
going to be divorced in 5 years.
I don't want to compare myself to Tom Brady. I hate Tom Brady.
Rich, handsome, successful. Yeah, terrible
Hated-
person to be.
Hated by
Hated?
half the world. Hated
I'm
by-
sure. Yeah, Mike. And then when you're hated by half the world, you can take all of the Scrooge McDuck money and just wipe your tears away on your
That's
your
fair.
cheeks, and you won't give a shit.
I don't know. I'm trying to help here.
Let's go back to Clint.
I was gonna say.
Let's go back to
I
Clint.
feel like Madeline
Sorry.
Kahn when she's Miss White when she's describing her anger for Yvette. Flames up the side of
That's
my
me
face.
watching Colts games.
This
The flames.
Well, here's a question for you: if you were in this house, like, why don't we put ourselves in the house? Because I think
Okay.
we've gone down the road of the movie, right? What would be your weapon of choice? Like, what would be the thing that you would want to make sure that you took out somebody with? Because there has to be a hierarchy of these things. I mean, you have like a lead pipe, a candlestick, a rope. I mean, some require more work
a
than others.
wrench or
Yeah.
I want the knife.
wrench, a knife, and the revolver.
They do kind of go more toward the blunt force type of a thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're not somebody who has the strength to whack somebody hard enough to kill them, maybe a knife or a gun, the revolver, excuse me.
I want the knife. I would hope that I got the knife in my gift.
Are you going throat, Mike, or are you going like stab right in the heart?
I'm gonna go side in the side.
Oh,
Ooh,
and the
that's a-
lungs.
Oof.
Look, I'm taking a page out of Ghostface's book.
Oh yeah,
Scream.
yeah.
I'm going for the side.
Right in the spleen
Yep,
area. Okay.
under the rib
All right.
cage.
Okay. I think honestly,
Well, hold on. That depends though.
mm-hmm,
If it's just me,
Mhm.
if I'm the killer,
mm-hmm.
and it's me and my victim,
Mhm.
and I know there's nobody else around that
Yeah.
can probably hear them scream, I'll go for the side.
Okay.
But if I feel like there might be somebody close by, I'm gonna go for either the back of the head or the throat. Instant kill. Drop them right there. Shut 'em
Throat's
down.
not an instant kill.
But they can't scream.
Well, they
Not
can
very
gurgle.
loud. They can
Gurgle
gurgle.
really loud.
You can't hear a gurgle through walls.
You're probably going to have a lot of evidence on you, I would assume.
Yeah.
In all these horror movies, whenever they slit somebody's throat and it's completely clean, I'm like, you have to be
That's
like, know what you're doing here.
I've watched enough. I know what I'm doing. I listen to true crime podcasts, so I know what I'm doing.
Oh, good.
I've watched all 14,000 seasons of CSI. I know how to get around it.
That's the same thing as true crime.
Except
Same
mine's on
thing.
TV and I don't listen.
No, Mike.
Um,
There's a difference between true crime podcasts and CSI. On CSI, there are actors and actresses who are portraying people who do this for a living. True crime podcasts, and this is no shade to any true crime podcaster out there.
Right.
I think a vast majority of them think that they're actually being real detectives.
That
Ooh,
depends on.
that's-
I know that's actually a valid opinion. I've
all
listened
of
to a
them.
bunch of different ones. The main one I listen to, it's more of a storytelling.
Yeah, storytelling is different, but then there's
That's
ones I
the
think where
ones I
they
go
dive a little bit more into it. But
Yeah, the ones I listen to are usually more of the storytelling side.
yeah, I do. Well, actually, I've been actually very much into that lately. like narrated podcasts and scripted. I really have been enjoying that. So if there are, I mean, I think if there are some that are just sort of telling the story about something that's long been established, but like the crimes that are going on right now and that are out there right now, those are the ones that fascinates me. It's funny whenever there's some big murder that's out in the news. Like my wife is always like, "Hey, I got new news for you today," and I was like, "Are you starting one of these? Like, are you just going to be a true crime podcaster now because you're giving me all of the evidence for this thing that's out in the news?" It's like she's tracking it from here.
Yeah, you're right.
That Idaho one, she was on that like dog on a bone.
I think I would have to go with depending on who it is, but in my gory fashion of thinking of murder, I think I would either go with the pipe, the wrench, or the candlestick. Blunt force trauma, baby.
I'm going lead pipe, going back to the old hardcore days of the WWF. I'm going to get that hardcore title off Mrs. Peacock, let me tell you.
Throw her 20 feet from Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, think about all the things you could find under a ring during a hardcore match back in the day. That's basically what they found in here. I would take the pipe, though. I'd feel like Jim Ross would be behind me. My God! I'd be had right away.
Jerry Lawler talking about Yvette's boobs.
Puppies.
Yeah, the puppies. My God.
I'm going to bring the colors back, by the way. You know how you were saying the colors didn't match or they didn't match their colors?
Yes.
The color of each character's car is the same color as their playing piece in the game.
I knew that. I'm talking about their attire.
Oh, their attire.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Colonel Mustard drives a yellow 1954 Cadillac Series 62. Miss White drives a black and white 1950 MG TD convertible. Miss Peacock drives a blue 1952 Packard 200 Deluxe Club sedan. I have no idea what these cars are.
They're old.
Yeah, very old.
Classics.
Talk about Easter egg. Like you got to really be searching for that.
Another Easter egg. The carpet in the ballroom is the board from the game.
Okay, now that's a cool Easter egg. I was kind of wondering where you're going to go with that. I'm like, Mike, you're really watching the movie for the carpet? But now I get it.
It's the power of IMDb.
Which is where a vast majority of movie podcasters probably get a lot of their base for their content. IMDb.
Oh, yeah.
That's where we get
That's where we do. Yep.
Unless it's a movie we've seen, umpteen times.
I mean, I didn't even have to open my phone for Lord of the Rings.
Or Tropic Thunder.
Thunder. Yeah.
Never seen that, by the way.
You need to. It's hilarious.
Wait, Lord of the Rings or Tropic Thunder?
People keep telling me that, but now I wonder if I've aged out of actually thinking it's funny, or maybe I'm still kind of at the cusp of that because I know some of the stuff probably couldn't get made today. But if you haven't seen it in the time, if you haven't seen it in the time period it came out, sometimes I wonder if I've like lost my chance on that.
Oh, no, you would still find it funny if you have humor, like not really, I guess like teenage humor, you could say, like like
so
you would giggle
humor.
at like immature humor, like you hear him say like booty sweat and you're like he.
I mean, I get what was it, my wife texted me the other day because I posted a screenshot of listens for a day and I had like 169 and she just like circled the 69 and sent me a screenshot of it.
I love your wife.
I was like, that's all you saw out of that? I was like, no, hey, what a great day for your show. Just the fact that there was a Bob's Burgers episode that had that on there too. But I was like, okay. And she's like, yeah, high five. All right.
That's awesome.
I was like, okay. Yeah, that happens a lot. So
hey,
I guess maybe I would find it funny. I just never, it's like one of those movies that I miss. So that happens to me a lot. And this movie kind of works with that too, where I never see things like when people are really about them. So like I haven't seen Tropic Thunder. It took me a long time to see like Napoleon Dynamite, which I fucking hated.
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
Hated it, right? So a lot of these shows, like I've never seen Game of Thrones, not out of a lack of interest. It just, once it becomes popular, I tend to just not be into it until afterward. I also have an added problem of being the only person in the house that will watch it.
Yeah.
That's Gunner, isn't it?
It was. It was.
I was a gunman these days, by the way.
He's absolutely fantastic. Just got over strep, so
Woo!
he's
Love
back
kids.
to gotta love it.
Like-
He bounced back in less than 24 hours, so he had a dose.
48.
No,
Oh, Gunner? He
yeah,
was sick Monday.
he was sick Monday night when we went to bed. Took him
Monday- no.
Tuesday.
Monday morning.
Took him to the doctor on Tuesday
Yeah.
because I didn't
When
go
he
to work on Tuesday.
Didn't he fart all at the doctor too?
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah, you read that.
Yeah. So we're in the doctor's
Proud of him.
office and all of it. Oh my god. He's ripping ass. And then the doctor walks in and he looks at the doctor and goes, "My mom farted like 4 times." I was like, "Oh Jesus." I said, "Kid, you do know that I've known this doctor since I was younger than you. So okay." And so
Okay.
he's sitting on the huh?
He's gonna make a great husband someday.
Oh, he's gonna make an excellent husband someday. Nasty farting ass. And he the doctor walks over to go put gloves on to examine his throat and stuff. He farts again and he goes, "Mom, why do you have to fart?" And the doctor was like, "I guess your mom's a pretty good ventriloquist if she can throw her farts into your butt." And I couldn't. It was so bad.
That's
It was
pretty
so
good.
bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Clue. An example of attention to detail: the secret passages in the movie lead to the same rooms as they do in the board game, which is fucking phenomenal.
That's an easy one. They should be able to get that right.
Yeah. The box office performance was disappointing, but
Mhm.
it has developed a cult forming.
Love that. Not unlike this show, right?
Right. We don't have any of that.
A cult following, yes, you do.
We have a cult following.
Wait,
Yes,
I didn't
that's what I
know
mean.
that. Yeah.
Thank you, Matt.
No, we do have a cult following. Don't drink the Kool-Aid if we tell you to.
I'm
I
in
was
a
actually
cult,
going to say,
and I'm following
not
you.
that kind. Yeah, I was like, not that
No,
kind.
just kidding. Did you know the singing Telegram Girl was played by Jane Weedlin, who was best known as the rhythm guitarist for the Go-Go's?
Yes.
Reading off IMDb. Reading
Sure the fuck
off
am.
IMDb.
Oh, it's the parquet floor in the hall.
Parkour?
Parquet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Parquet.
Parkour?
Parquet.
Parkour?
Oui.
Can we talk about parkour floor? That'd be amazing.
The parkour floor. Oh my
we'll,
god,
we'll
that
do
would
it.
hurt.
We'll do a Patreon episode on parkour.
You gonna put on a
Or-
GoPro and like run around the house?
No, we'll just talk about how awesome it was on the internet, and that one scene in The Office.
Yeah, when you're not old and fat and wanting to die.
Well, I don't want to die, but I am old and fat.
Yeah, you gonna parkour?
I mean, I can try.
Do you want me to send you all the videos that aren't cool where the people break their legs in 2 pieces trying to be parkour guys, Mike?
Do it.
If you think it will
Deter you? Yes, it will. Trust me.
not deter, well, okay, well, if it's going to deter me, then I don't want to do it. But if it's going to like boost my like enthusiasm and my confidence, then please.
Now,
All right, I'll try and do it.
Okay.
what was that?
Somebody breaking both of their legs, and you just like it's you going, Mike, you can do it.
You can do it.
I believe in you.
What was that one movie that B word from Bleach Bros told us to watch because he said it was like Clue back in the 70s before Clue was Clue.
It's like
got,
Murder by Numbers or something like that. I forget. It was on actually over here when the suggested movies. It was I can't remember what it was
yeah.
called.
Well,
On
I
Amazon.
want to watch it.
It's got Maggie
Maggie
Dame.
Smith. Dame Maggie Smith.
Maggie
Excuse
Smith.
me.
Dang.
Her Majesty,
Where
her Grace.
are
You put some respect on her name.
I will.
It's Maggie Smith. Dame Maggie Smith.
You
Murder by-
fucked up there.
Murder by Death, it's called.
Murder by
Murder by
death.
Death,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Yes.
okay.
B word says it's better than Clue.
So,
Well,
It predates.
we can't speculate. We can't pass judgment because we've never seen it before.
I mean,
So,
okay,
I'll
so
watch it.
it predates Clue, obviously, but it's
By-
the same premise. But Peter Falk, Alec Guinness, Peter Sellers, Truman Capote. I mean, just naming a few names.
Yeah.
Dame Maggie Smith. Yes,
That's right.
James
That is
Cromwell,
right.
early James Cromwell. Wow.
Yeah, James Cromwell's in it.
oh, that's so
Mhm.
awesome.
It's a
Okay.
full
I
British
know,
cast.
I'm gonna have to
It's a
fucking
full British
watch it. I'm
cast.
just gonna watch it.
Mhm.
But it came out in 1976.
Yeah.
That it did.
So, but
Mhm.
I'm down to give it a go.
Fuck yeah. Let's go watch it.
Mhm.
Well, not right now.
I mean, after this, we'll go watch it.
Okay.
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 Do you have a favorite character of the movie?
I mean, I'm impressed by Mrs. Scarlet being able to keep that dress above her
That's
breast
what
the
he
way that she
said
does.
He's
Well,
like,
okay,
I have
so
anxiety
let
because
me-
that dress is gonna fall.
Let me just say, yeah, that dress, like the first time I saw it, last year, my
year.
first viewing, all I could think every time I saw Miss Scarlet was, God, her tits are just gonna fall out.
Just a bloop bloop
Like I'm sitting waiting for it.
bloop bloop.
I mean, I'm not gonna be mad because she's really pretty,
I love her.
but like I'm just like waiting, like, oh my God, I'm like 11 years old. Oh, I'm gonna see boobs, dude. I'm gonna see your boobs.
No, the only way you saw that at age 11 was with the TV being distorted because you
Channel
were trying to
99.
get. Yeah, that's right.
And there's steel drums playing in the background.
Oh.
No, if I had a favorite, it'd be Mr. Green because I like the way that he delivered all of his lines. I mean, Christopher Lloyd was in it, but I honestly did not find his performance to be that great. It was just sort of there, and I could not stand Colonel Mustard. You know, Tim Curry's obviously wonderful, but Mr. Green, the whole character, I thought was just very well thought out, and I liked it a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
My favorite was Michael McKean, Mr. Green.
Now, I do have to say though, for Professor Plum, the only reason why that his thing wasn't so good, what like his performance was because I don't think they wrote him a big enough role.
Yeah.
He just kind of existed. That's all that.
Yeah,
If
he
he
was
wasn't
just
in the
there.
movie, I don't think I would have noticed.
right. Yeah.
Just me.
No, I get that 110%. Mine is either going to be Wadsworth or Miss White. That's gonna Miss White. Oh, it's Madeline Kahn, not Madeline Albright. Madeline Kahn is
No.
fantastic. She's
It would have been a different movie if it was Madeline Albright.
Well-
Madeline Albright. I'm sorry,
God.
I'm still laughing.
I guess you heard that one, huh? That episode.
I did not. I just know who Madeline Albright is.
Oh, designated quizzers.
It was
New
our
Year's.
80s episode on New Year's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I got Madeline Kahn and Madeline Albright confused.
I
with
said,
each
"Oh,
other.
Madeline, Kahn," and before I got Kahn, he goes, "Madeline Albright,"
Madeline
real quick.
Albright. No, that's not right. Who's Madeline Albright?
And then Lisa died for 5 minutes. She
Yeah.
just died.
Former
Is- I-
Secretary of State.
Yeah. Madeline Albright she has an acting credit on Parks and Rec. though.
She does, but that's it.
But
That would have been a 90s movie then, Mike.
2000s.
No, I
Parks
mean,
and Rec.
Madeline Albright, she was Secretary of State in the late 90s.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Well,
we don't do politics. We don't follow much.
That would
always-
actually
Except
been a
Madeline
really-
Albright.
Now, wait a minute now. Hold on. You're not going to tell me that we can't put people like Mitch McConnell in here and just hope that they get shot in the
Oh,
Clue House or
Jesus
hung or
Christ,
something
Hold
like
Hold on,
that?
you can't talk shit on Mitch McConnell if you're a Ninja. You can't talk shit on Mitch McConnell if you're a Ninja Turtles fan.
He
That
does
is
look
not
like
true.
a fucking turtle. Anyway, no more
He's-
politics.
No. He
He's
looks
my
like a
favorite
done.
Ninja Turtle.
He looks like the old turtle with glasses. He looks like Mr. Magoo if Mr. Magoo was a turtle. But as a human being, go fuck himself.
Exactly.
Sorry.
That's okay. So for those of you listening, please go watch Clue. It's absolutely fantastic. Leave us your thoughts on Clue and how much you like it.
Get your laptop up.
Okay.
Sorry, we're going on cheap seat reviews after this. Sean's
All right.
waiting for us. But no, Matt, thank you, man, for being on this episode. You know,
Pleasure,
it's
Sheep.
always cool, you know, recording and hanging out with you, man.
Of course, I'm always happy to come on. And,
Hell yeah.
you know, you guys always have a good time. And I wish you the best of luck on the rebrand and all that good stuff. And you know where to find me if you need me.
We always need you.
Oh yeah.
You're our IT guy.
Yeah. He's our
And
stream
according-
guy.
There you go.
And according to Lisa, we have to yell at you at least once.
Why is
I
that?
can't.
I don't know. She said you're IT guy. You have to yell at your IT guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's
when
fair.
something doesn't go wrong. I mean, when something
What-
doesn't go right. Yeah, I get you.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it.
And then they usually say, "Is it plugged in?" And then you're like, "No, that's not my
Unplug
fucking
it and
problem."
plug it back in.
power down, power up. That's all.
That's right. No, I had a blast, guys.
Thank you, man. Real before you go, do you want to let our listeners know where they can find you?
Oh, I mean, I'm Actually, I'm not as easy to find if you're not into sneakers or sports, but MattyIceMedia.com or at Matty Ice Freights on Twitter is generally where I spend most of my podcasting time if you want to find me. But other than that, just look up Matty Ice on podcast apps and you'll probably find very few of them. You won't find Matt Ryan, that's for sure.
Okay.
Bringing it back full circle. That's what I'm talking about.
He just wants it to die.
Yeah, we all want it to die.
Matt
Or
Ryan.
at least retire or play for a different team. All right. So, and as always, you can check out all of our content, merch store, socials, and all that by following, checking out our link tree. That's our rebranded link tree now. That's linktr.ee/Gray's Podcast 2.
Gray's Tap Room.
Gray's Tap Room Podcast 2. Thank you. This is going to take some getting used to.
Hey, that's fine. I'm ready for it.
We will be rebranding on at the end of this month, and we will drop a Patreon with it also.
Absolutely. Super excited about the Patreon.
Yes.
Subscribe. You might be able to see Mike shirtless.
Maybe. That's the $20 tier that doesn't exist yet.
Yet.
Right. Yeah. Yet. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to this. Again, Matt, thank you for jumping in here and hanging out with us tonight. It's always cool having you around, man. You know, we think a lot of you. You're awesome. And go ahead.
I thought you were still finishing your thought. I appreciate that, Mike.
And a special shout out to His Grace James for making a special
the adorable,
cameo.
cute, gorgeous, handsome man, James.
Is Darth Vader, you mean? He's Darth Vader this morning.
Yes, Darth Vader. I'll show Mike that video.
Yeah, well, I only get pictures to shut me up, apparently.
Fucking love it. He's so cute.
Yes,
right,
he's just.
Well, that is going to episode of Happy Hour.
Second to last episode of Happy Hour.
Second to last episode. Join us next week when we wrap up the Name Happy Hour podcast with Mad Libs 2, featuring designated quizzers.
Electric Boogaloo.
You guys take care of yourselves.
Oh, I'm Tabby.
I'm Mike.
Don't
Sorry.
text and drive. Don't drink and drive. Always drink responsibly. Have a good night, guys. Bye.